All right. Got the clap of...
Well, I learned that from trying to sync up the audio is the one thing that's the hardest. It's the hardest thing to do on this until you learn the simple fact of doing, you remember when you watch movies and they do the action, the little clip thing? That thing actually has a use. It's not just like a prop.
For looks, yeah.
It's meant to, you hear that click noise and you hear it on the camera audio, and also like in major Hollywood movies, it's always like a boom mic, it's out of the screen. They'll hear it on that. And so they'll see that little spike on the wavelengths and they'll think, okay, that's where we sync up the video, the movement of the lips to the audio. That's the professional audio, and we're good to go.
Also, I think some of those even have they're not just handheld, they're wired, and they'll trigger something else.
Yeah.
When they'll,
Yeah. Yeah, Hollywood producers have more money than I
they
do
got way more backing. Way more
stuff.
backing.
Yeah.
Have you seen? I watched a movie the other day called Tag. Have you seen this movie?
Oh, that's.
I only saw it because it's one of the Southwest Airlines movies, and so you're limited. Hilarious, by the way. But they all these friends get back together, and they go down into his basement. He's like, it's just like we left it. It's just hilarious,
dude. The game they play in that is like. It's like every group of friends' dream, to be able to do that. It's kind of like a modern day Sandlot, part 2, type thing.
I don't know if you follow a lot of TikTok or Instagram, but my childhood was not tag; it was wiffle ball.
Oh, okay.
So we
man of culture, I see.
Yeah, we played wiffle ball like crazy, and there's guys our age, probably a little younger than me, full on tournaments, wiffle ball tournaments, championships, the whole thing. And they have uniforms, everything. They go to these tournaments in Seattle, and I will catch myself on TikTok it's a live video watching grown men playing wiffle ball. So it's not quite like the tag where they're going back with all their friends, but I'm like, man, could I still play? I think I could still play.
I think I could still make it in the professional league.
And then I'm watching them, and I'm like, golly, that guy took a hard fall.
I know.
Yeah, that's why I don't do that.
Or they've got is wiffle ball the one where the ball has all the holes in it, and they can throw these wild pitches that there's a curveball that starts 10 feet away from you and then just goes right back into the strike zone.
The best thing that they've done is they put a strike zone behind it so they can hit it, and so it's an actual strike. Not us my whole life. We just yelled back and forth.
Yeah.
Ball, strike, ball, and then we had to chase every ball 900 yards. These guys have a stack of 14 balls next to them, and they just pick up another one. It's like, gosh. That's what you get when you have professional adults playing a kid's game because they make it better because they have adult money to play with.
In a way, that's kind of the way all sports has gotten. You take basketball, football, baseball, whatever, you just put a lot of money behind it. And this may be a controversial take, but it kind of takes some of the joy out of it in some 100%. Ways. I was talking with Gary Gates several weeks back, and he was talking about how baseball just kind of, it's not a kid's game anymore. It's more of a business.
Yeah.
And it's beyond college ball. And even some college ball kind of, that stuff has creeped into it. But what do you think? Do you think professional sports is dead?
No. So it's mega business. I used to never be, so I'm not diehard a whole lot of things, but I used to never be a college football guy because I had to always work on Saturdays. So I never got to catch it. So then I would take a Sunday and I could get NFL. Then I was like, man, I love the NFL because it's a business. I like the money side, whatever. And then it got to where it's kind of the opposite. It's so much of a business. I don't really enjoy it. And then I got where Saturdays I'm not doing anything anymore. And so I got all about tech football, college football, doing all that. But there's nothing like college basketball.
Oh, no. Yeah.
NBA versus college basketball, the ratings are just ridiculously crazy. But you know what I remember talking about growing up? Did you ever watch And One? And we had the Professor, you had Cadillac, or Escalade, not Cadillac. You had all these guys that were just incredible. If you look, we don't really have it out here in West Texas, outdoor courts or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But those guys literally, they're in mega cities where it's we're going to the court and it's literally we got next.
Beachside courts, in California, and they're just doing crazy games, and they'll post it on YouTube. Yeah, the Professor, I've seen a lot of his stuff. He's a dude.
Yeah, back in the day, I mean, we were all trying to do the off the heezy where you throw the ball off another guy's head, and it just makes everybody mad, and trying to do the tricks because but that was who we looked up to. Well, they had a culture that was that. This is the game. There was a video going around not too long ago that's I don't understand guys. How do these guys walk up to a court and just be like, hey, I'm with you. I got next. I'm playing. It's women, like the thing was like women don't understand how guys can just all become friends, like really like just like that, no problem.
Yeah. It's like, how can you not?
Yeah. How can you not? Like, no, I want to play. You're out there. Let me in, you know? But they have this culture of just kind of like hanging out, doing their thing. And that's what you're losing is, and it's because it's because of phones, social media, TikToks, Instagrams. Yeah. Instant gratifications. You know, people want to watch the virtual reality headsets now versus actually getting onto the court and practicing, you know? I'm growing up, me and my best friend are in the batting cages every single day. We had another friend who had batting cages at his house, one of the rich kids. We would go to his house and he wouldn't even come outside with us because he'd be inside playing video games. And we're like, dude, you have this at your house. You know, it's just such a different world.
There's a sense of like what's immediately accessible to you all the time eventually becomes boring to a degree. Although that's not true for everybody, but you brought up an interesting point about how that pickup game culture is going away. Yeah. I'm reading a book right now. It's called The Boy Crisis. And the guy who wrote the book is examining the downfall of young men in the world today because of a lot of different social pressures and a lot of different things. But one thing that he cites in there is the death of the pickup game and how that causes a lot of young men in particular, but just young people in particular, to not develop the right social skills to live, or not to live, but to achieve well in life. And one of those is entrepreneurship. So get this, a pickup game actually teaches you how to be a good entrepreneur. Yeah. It teaches you how to pick a team, not based on who you like, but who's going to achieve the goal. It teaches you social skills. It teaches you conflict resolution. It teaches you sportsmanship and all that. And but mainly the point that he made about how it teaches you to pick a team of people that you may not necessarily like, but that are going to help you achieve a certain goal. And then you learn to work with them in the process. I thought, I can't believe I never noticed that.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, and that's why he wrote a book and I didn't.
Yeah, people are just a lot smarter than we are. I know. Well, and along that same lines of what you said of, you mentioned the word boring, and I've been on this kick lately of, you know, boring is where we master everything, is in the boring skills. You know, there's this guys on TikTok saying like, hey, boring businesses that'll make you a millionaire. If you think about what you're saying, the cultural shift, the lack of the pickup game, all these things, right? Well, if you go back to our grandparents and even our parents' generations, they are doing what we would consider to be just super boring.
Oh, yeah.
And I think even in our industries, maybe not necessarily yours, but mine, real estate, sales related specifically, people just change all the time. They want something new, something different, something flashy. You know, the new, the best, the next thing versus being like, we're going to stick this out like our grandparents did. The warehouse manufacturing world's not quite here anymore. You know, it's all made overseas, whatever. But they literally they worked somewhere for 30, 35, 45 years.
Got a pension, same
paycheck, saved the same house, boom. And then who was the one that was the wealthy one? The one that lived in the boring life. Yeah. Versus nowadays, it's flashy, what's next? I'm going to become a Bitcoin billionaire. You know, the next best thing, NFTs, this, and this. What's going to get me there right now? Oh, online leads, Zillow leads. Like, some of those are great, but it's like all about instant. We can go into a whole nother deal about that. But if you just want to talk about that as far as like the work side of things, the boring is what, I mean, maybe I've been into some, you know, different podcaster stuff right now, but it's like, that is where our true money is being made. Yeah. You know, followed him for years, but Gary Keller, billionaire, said master the boring things and then you'll become a millionaire. Well, we talked about it on Wednesday. If I had told you, Jackson, in 5 years I will give you $1 million. I'll give you $1 million. All you have to do is just do what I tell you every single day. Would you do it? Yeah. Okay. What if I did it the opposite way? If I showed you what you had to do every single day to make $1 million, but it was like really hard. It was waking up at 4:30 a.m. It was going to the gym. It was doing this. It was, you know, reaching out to 27 people a day, whatever. It was doing X, bam, 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 all this stuff. You'd be like, do I really need that? Yeah. But for some reason, we know exactly what it takes to be successful. And instead of just doing that, we go, oh, but Gary V was talking about Bitcoin. Gary, you know, like.
But Gary V.
I love Gary V too.
Oh no, I know,
but he's never gonna probably see this, so he'll never know that we're mention his name, but
I really appreciate the confidence that you put in me of my podcast's visibility. It's like,
it's because I'll be tagged in there and I'm like, no, scroll. No, but like, you know, like it's that stuff, the famous person, what are they talking about? Like there's just so much noise and instant. And honestly, even one step further, we're not even talking about business. That is relationships in a nutshell too. That is failed relationships in a nutshell. Like, I mean, maybe some people get prettier with age, but most people, like,
I'm not seeing it in myself yet.
We get declining with age. Like it's what happens. And so you have to have the right proper foundation in your marriage. You know, we're both married. I think great marriages, right?
Absolutely.
It's because we have incredible wives. But the reality is the boring in the marriage is what you have to master, really.
Yeah.
How do you make it through the mundane? How do you get through that? How do you stay, you know, motivated in that and motivated in work and motivated, you know, like.
You know, on the motivated side of things, this is something I've latched onto lately is to find motivation. What I used to do is I used to look up a YouTube video, like find motivation.
Eric Thomas, baby. That guy will motivate anybody.
And I got to thinking, you know, I'm always looking for these ways to be motivated instead of doing the thing that I'm trying to motivate myself to do. And I heard this somewhere, can't remember where it was, but they said, just do the thing that it is you're doing, and that's where the motivation comes from.
Yeah.
Like actually just start doing that particular thing, and then as you're doing it, you'll realize how gratifying it is to get that thing done. Then you just keep doing it. But I always approached it from the standpoint of I need to get motivation before I do the thing. Instead, now I'm trying to approach it from just grind and do the thing, and then the motivation comes afterwards. Now, I know that may not work in every aspect of life, but for me, it's
ready, aim, ready, aim, fire guy? Or are you a fire, should have aimed a little better?
There is smoke coming out of my ears right now after listening to that. I'm sorry. Slow it down.
Yeah.
More time.
Okay, so like you've heard this before. I'm not telling you anything that somebody else didn't say. You have ready. I'm getting ready. I'm aiming, ready, aim, hold on. I'm going to get motivated once I get okay, my iPad is here. My phone is here. My yellow pad is here. Oh, where are my headphones?
More like me.
Okay. Yeah. So I am the opposite. I'm like, boom, fire. And then it's shoot. I'm so sorry. I wasn't paying attention where I was pointing that. So let me readjust. You know, I'm more of a like, let's jump in, both feet. Let's go. Let's give it a try. You know, most people are like, I really want to make a real estate sale. Show me what to do.
Okay.
And I want you to show me what to do and show me what the contract needs to look like. And I need you to show me how I won't look like an idiot when I'm talking to another person, or I won't look like an idiot versus me going, hello, hey, whoa. Do you own a home? No? Why not? Cool. Let's talk about that. Let's go, you know, those sort of things. Like, let's dive right in. And then I've got mentors and systems and support and all that stuff set up. Thanks for that. Let's go. Come on. We're going to go right back here. We're going to talk with my mentor and we're going to figure out how to buy you a house. Cool. Oh, Jackson found another one. Help me do this. Boom.
Yeah.
And so, with that though, with the, I can't remember what we were just talking about right before that though, when you said,
finding motivation,
finding motivation. So I get motivated by making the next sale. There's nothing better for me to change my whole attitude than making a sale. Doesn't matter what I'm selling. You ever had to sell something like, let's talk if somebody's watching this and they're like, I don't care about real estate or real estate inspections or the market or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's say they're just an entrepreneur. But let's say you ever cleaned out your house or you bought new furniture. You bought new furniture, you moved in the new furniture, and you don't have somewhere else for the other furniture to go, and you sell it on Craigslist or Facebook, and you're like, I'm glad that's gone.
Yeah, you get a little bit of
even just right there. It's like, whoa, sold it.
Yeah, there's something there. Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought about that.
Just
even if it's a junky little thing,
just something. It's like it's like the action of that. And so I live my life. Charlie Rocket. You got to look this guy up. If this gets out there to anybody, I hope they look this guy up. Found Charlie Rocket. Charlie, it's kind of combined. On Ed Milet podcast, guy was like 300 something pounds, became a Nike athlete, super motivational. But he talks about finding a winning streak every single day in every single thing you do. Oh, excuse me. So
lovely.
Yeah. So find what you're gonna do is you're gonna find a winning streak in every single thing you do. So what does that look like? Well, find a positive. All we're doing is finding a positive, and then we high five it. That's Mel Robbins, power of high five. And so every single time we have a meeting at my office, we say, what's your affirmation? What's your gratitude? What are you going to do to make today great? And what's your winning streak? Forcing people to put themselves in a mindset that will then do what? motivate them.
Bam.
Motivate them, yeah.
There you go.
That's like a mixture of like 4 people. That's Patrick Lencioni, that's Charlie Rocket, that's Jacoby Madewell, that's somebody else.
Nice. So the way you're talking about all this, like I remember when I was on my way up here, I got to thinking, this is kind of like after like high school, the high school reunion, and I'm talking to the guy who's like got a really successful business after high school. It's
the dorky guy in high school.
Because well,
who thought he was a thought he was a cool cat.
You know, the dorks are the ones that are making it in life right now.
I thought I was like, so I was we were very big in youth group. Mm-hmm. Still feel like, you know, church going, good guy, good Christian man. Mm-hmm. But like prude. I was a prude. Mm-hmm. You know, didn't drink, didn't party. Mm-hmm. Played baseball and basketball, but like all the baseball guys would dye their hair every year for playoffs. I was like, I'm not doing that. That's crazy. Yeah. What if we lost? Then my hair is yellow. Yeah. So just cared about things in a different way than nobody else did. And so I always have kind of been just kind of a little bit of a black sheep walking a different path. Never wanted to go to college. Mm-hmm. When in fact went to a college, I just decided, what's the most expensive one I can find? Let's go there. Private school, Christian school. Mm-hmm. $42,000 in 2 years. Because I didn't have any scholarships, because I was like, I'm not going to college, guys. Mm-hmm. The grades don't matter. Well, they did somehow.
Yeah, they tend to matter.
So then I dropped out after 2 years of that. Mm-hmm. And then all I wanted to do at age 16, which you can't get a real estate license at 16, was get a real estate license. Mm. So
where did that come from? Like, where did the motivation to get a real estate license at 16
okay, so backstory. My high school girlfriend's dad, well, still is, to this day, a very successful auctioneer. Ah. And he is the guy who taught me a lot of, like, different ways of thinking. Mm-hmm. I would go to their house to, like, 16, 17 years old, like, hey, we're going to hang out, watch TV, whatever. And first off, he called me greenhorn, which I never understood.
Old school term. Yep.
Old school term, but he was basically just like, you're an idiot kid.
Yeah, you're green.
Every single time I went over there, though, it's like, cool, going over to my girlfriend's house, we're going to hang out. Mm-hmm. He's like, cool, let's go to work. And I'm like, what are we doing?
You got like, Mr. Miyagi'd.
Every single time I was over there, he put me to work. Every time. And, I mean, they had great money, great house, all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. And he's literally like, hey, we need to move this dirt from this spot to this spot.
And you're like, why?
What are we doing? But he was such an enjoyable, or is, I haven't talked to him in 12, 15 years. Yeah, 15. It would be, that makes me feel old. But, you know, every single time he was teaching me stuff, and I never realized it. Uh-huh. I mean, we sat down and we watched The Secret. I don't know, Rhonda Byrne's The Secret, the movie, the Law of Attraction movie. Like, we watched that movie at like 17 years old, you know, with them, and like the books that was given. And it was just kind of like, you know, go do this. At the same time, my brother was he was 3 years older, or is 3 years older than me. And he's like, hey, this is the book I'm reading. This is what we're doing. We wrote down our goals at age 16. You know, like it's been just something that's been in our who we've been for years. And so I'm like, whenever 06, 07 happens. Uh-huh. Sorry, this guy's an auctioneer, right? He's auctioning property and he's traveling all over the nation. Flies out 4 a.m., going to do all these real estate auctions, car auctions, everything. But I'm watching him crush it in real estate auctioning, not understanding what's going on with the economy. Because then it's like 07 and then 08.
Yeah.
Well, the reason he was auctioning off all these properties was because they were being foreclosed on.
Yeah.
And so I remember, you know, my granddad. You always look up to him. My dad, you know, he's building houses, look up to him. And then I've got this guy that's crushing it as an auctioneer. And I'm like, these guys, the 3 main men in my life, have made their life around real estate.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I should get my real estate license.
Yeah. But you didn't know what was going on in the background. You didn't know all that stuff that was going on with the stock market crash or the recession and everything.
No, not at the time.
Isn't it interesting how not seeing how the sausage is made, so to speak, kind of ignites those passions as a kid? Mm-hmm. It's like not seeing the actual struggles of the job or of the thing, the cowboy, astronaut, millionaire, whatever, like the thing that we want to be when we grow up. It's like we need to not see those things in order to get that desire to be that. And then later on, as we grow up and as our vision broadens, then we see that and we're old enough and mature enough to see it. Like, for instance, I mean, I kind of had that already as a home inspector, or with being a home inspector. I didn't understand all the stuff that went into it on the backside. And I thought, had I known all the bad stuff, I may have not wanted to go for it. Do you ever feel that way with real estate at all? If you would have known all the challenges that you wouldn't have gotten into.
The question I always ask is, if you're going to start all over, what would you do? Would you do anything differently? And 99% of people say like, yes, I would do this differently, or I would go and some people say like I would do completely different.
Yeah.
My answer always is that I would probably become a lawyer. But it's
really?
Only because I watch real estate law, oil and gas law, those sort of things. I feel like you can control more.
Okay.
As a lawyer.
You watch those things.
No, I just think that if you're gonna say let's start over, what are you gonna go do? If you can do it all over again, what would you do? People are like, oh, I'd be a doctor. They make a ton. I'd do this. Or mine would always be, well, I'd be a lawyer. Well, why would you be a lawyer? Because of everything I know today about real estate. But I mean, if I went to that route, I would never have or do the things I've done today to know those sort of things. But but with real estate, I kind of had an interesting path, like not really that different than most people, but also not really that normal. So like when I first got into real estate, end of 2013, beginning of 2014, right, was when I actually finally got licensed. So I'm like wanting to get a real estate license forever. And then I just did this life thing. Yeah. Failed a bunch, you know,
That's how it goes.
Some broken stuff all along the way, right? Like we had to fall. Get super broke and then be like, yeah, okay, it's time for me to do that straight commission thing, because if I fall and fail anymore, it's not going to hurt me. Because I was already so broke. I was like, what's the worst that can happen? You know? And so when I came in, teams were like just becoming a thing. Like nobody had ever heard of teams. So I was on somebody's team that was a higher official at the Keller Williams that I was at the time. And everybody was like pissed off. Like there was a target on my back, like just because I got to partner with that guy. And I didn't really understand why. And that's kind of the same way. Like I didn't realize this crash was going on, like 07, 08. Yeah. When I got into real estate, it took me a minute to realize, oh, these people don't like me. And I'm just doing my thing. I've heard a bajillion times people say, when I first met you, I didn't really like you, but now I love you. And I think it's probably, I mean, maybe I'm off-putting when I first meet somebody. I don't know.
Well, we tend to cast judgments pretty quick on people before we know them.
It's probably because I'm like, move so fast, you know, kind of just that sort of thing.
You are high speed.
High speed, man. We got one speed. We either are going, or we're asleep.
Or we're dying.
Yeah.
It's like that. You ever seen Shawshank Redemption?
Oh, yeah.
It's like I always say, you either get busy living or you get busy dying.
Yeah.
It's like, I love that movie.
Well, it's the best movie of all time, probably.
Definitely in my top 5. We talk a lot of movies on here, by the way, so be prepared.
I'm not a huge movie guy because I fall asleep. As soon as I sit down and say like, it's time to sit down and rest and watch this movie.
Oh, okay.
Sleep. Because why? Because I'm 90 to nothing.
Okay. So is there a type of movie that goes 90 to nothing that keeps you engaged?
I don't know. I'm like, I don't know, movie-wise. Like, I've seen some great ones, you know, but I'm trying to even think like the most recent movie I even saw.
Because most movies are not built for that. Most movies are built for you to sit down and engage in the story, kind of like a book too, you know, to a degree. So like when you're reading a book too, let's switch gears to books.
They're all audio.
Okay. I was wondering if you, because the way you talk about things that you read.
At 2 speed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you able to remember all of it?
I'll rewind.
Okay.
But think about like how fast we talk.
How fast do you talk?
Right. And so then think about like when you're listening to an audiobook. Okay, we're going to open the book now and we are going to read this book to you and it's going to be a great, it's like, that's not how we talk. Yeah. So we're used to just normal conversation with anybody. It's faster than the book speed. Right. You know, guys have said they've done the book with the audio book and then they'll read 3 times speed and then they'll read the words and then they'll highlight as they go. I only do that if I'm behind. Okay. So a question on that. So because you talk fast and because your brain moves really fast, when you're having a client who talks really slow, does it give you anxiety? Like because they're not moving fast enough and you're wanting to... Not necessarily anxiety. I don't really think I get anxiety. Okay. Does it bother you at all that they don't match your speed? You'll watch if like I've had to watch my body language. So something else I did when I was in high school was I learned myself taught myself body language. Like, I was reading books about that and watching videos about that and trying to figure all that out. And my body language will get so bad. So like if you're sitting with somebody and they ever are sitting at a restaurant and their like feet are towards the door, they would rather be somewhere else than with you.
I'm glad my feet have been towards the wall.
Totally.
So
and mine have been
here.
Mine have been away from the door as well. But like you watch their body language, politicians get ripped all the time because their body language, because they're scrutinized by the whole world.
Oh yeah.
But then you have, so like I have these slower clients or different personality types. I really try to recognize personality types with that. And I just use the DISC. That's the best one for me.
Yeah.
My wife's Enneagram. So I tried to learn Enneagrams because we could be on the same page, whatever. And I just, they're even more complex.
Oh yeah.
But talking about judging people from face value, we'll say, oh, you're a high D. No wonder you're a jerk.
It's like, what did you call me?
Right. When it's like high D, oh, maybe you're just actually just super motivated and super like to the point, but like, if I can recognize what that person really is, like, are they slower, or is it like they've never done this before? So usually there's just fear in the unknown.
Yeah.
The what ifs, I don't know. And so usually if somebody's slower, are they slower? Are they methodical? Or are they unsure and they're not asking questions? And then that's my job of asking the right questions to make them feel maybe they are just slow. Maybe they do want to just sleep on it.
Yeah.
But have I asked them the right questions to lead that? Or is it just like straight personality type?
Right.
Because I think I've developed the sales skills enough to kind of guide people.
Yeah. And that usually comes from working with all kinds of people too.
Right.
I mean, you just start, and I think one of the biggest challenges for me in working with different people is not taking that as a learning opportunity. It's more like this person doesn't jive with my personality, so I want to get out of here as quick as possible.
Well, today's world for me is not necessarily a ton of what it used to be, of like a bunch of cold leads, a bunch of like, we're doing people with stuff we have, like our own deals. We're doing new construction. We're doing our own buys and sales. We're doing, that sort of stuff. Or it's close sphere. That's what I'm working with, like sphere of influence.
okay.
That's my circle, right?
I gotcha.
The people that probably would be more what you're even talking about would probably be agents.
Yeah.
So getting to know agents' personality type that work with me and they're at the brokerage.
Oh yeah.
So they're like, Madewell Real Estate Company gives you everything.
Yeah.
So we're like one-stop shop for what you need. We're going to give you all the support, leverage. I mean, the best leverage you could possibly ask for, because we have Betsy, Marissa, Caitlin, Katie. Like, come at me. I will put my team up against anybody.
They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing.
That's 1997 Bulls right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And Betsy's Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
I'll be Dennis Rodman. And
oh no.
Yeah. Listen, I'm just going to go get that rebound. But the deal is like my agents are not all me. And so they'll be like, hey, I really want to make a sale. And I'm like, fire, go, boom, shoot. And they're like, it's my third day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you should have been out there 2 days ago. You know, like, what are we waiting on?
You should have made a sale on your negative first
Yeah,
day.
right?
Yeah.
Right? Why were you not talking about people before you were licensed?
I know.
Which is against the rules. It's just a joke.
Nah, don't worry about it.
Disclosure. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, so that's probably one I've had to like change a little bit. And one thing that's really important is we went over this deal. I'll have to find it. I did a 3-week long lesson, if you will, during team meetings, like on leadership. They're all John Maxwell podcast.
Okay.
And one was about communication. One was about listening. What was the other one about? Basically, it was about the kind of listening, communicating with people, though. Oh, within the team.
Okay.
So it was first one was on listening. First thing that they said is like, wait, why am I talking? That's the first thing that they even said. And then the second one was communicating. Like, how are we communicating with other people? Are we communicating on the right levels, the right wavelengths?
Yeah.
I think text message, emails, phone calls, face to face. And then there was what was called the cone of clarity that John Maxwell's guys talked about. And so you have this cone that basically is it's a sideways cone.
Okay.
And the wider it is the most unclear you are with somebody. And the tighter the end of the cone is, like the bottom part, is the most clarity you have with somebody.
Okay.
And they basically had it, well, this is a written statement over here of the least clarity. The most clarity is you and me sitting right here talking back and forth.
Yeah.
And it's face to face.
Right.
And so with people that move slower than I do, I have to think, why am I talking? What am I saying? Am I listening? Do I have clarity? Am I actually getting what they're trying to say?
Right.
And then the most important thing with that is, what is their goal and what are they trying to do? You know, my mission statement for my personal life is that I want to create an environment of positive energy, encouragement, and dreaming to experience heck yes moments with all of those around me.
Nice.
I'm like, heck yes. Like, that is my saying, like, yes, let's go. Like, yes, heck yes. It's the winning streak, right? I'm looking for the heck yes moments. So if I can sit across from somebody that's not me, that moves slower, does things differently, and help them get to a heck yes, that's what I'm looking for.
Is there a heck yes moment that sticks out as of recent that you'd want to share?
Well, just before I came over here, we closed the largest transaction in my whole career.
Nice.
So not super huge, $2 million.
Nah.
So, but it's awesome.
change.
I've had 3.5, 3.75, 3.2, all those under contract, and they never get to the closing table. You know, commercially does.
There's a skepticism that develops with those bigger deals. When they start falling through, you're like, you know, like I remember one of the earliest deals I ever did where it was approaching that amount, and I thought, this is it. This is going to, and it falls through.
Yeah.
And I thought, there's almost a rule of the bigger the deal, the inverse the proportion needs to be of your expectations for that to go through,
right,
to a degree, because it's almost like there's more room for failure.
Yeah. So I do commercial and residential. I do land investments, all the things. Residential is my bread and butter, pays my bills.
Yeah.
Commercial, those other ones are my bonuses. Yeah. And that is kind of what you're saying, like with the expectation of the commercials might not close.
Yeah.
The residential is the one that I'm like, that's
the foundation.
That's the foundation. That's the mundane, the boringness.
Exactly.
If you will. But that's me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm working with a guy. I just closed a deal with a guy over at another company. Super transaction. And it was so smooth. And that guy is about as West Texas as they come. Hey, Jacoby, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm good, man. He's like, well, and you know, he just wants to, we're going to small talk it for a minute.
Yeah.
Because if I don't small talk it, I'm going to do what? I'm going to seem rude.
Yeah.
And I could small talk it with the best of them. We actually joke that when we talk to an older country man in this city or around where we live, then our voices will become older country men too.
I think there's
so
something to that.
The mirror matching, which is probably what I do with people that are just move slower than I do, forces me to slow down.
Yeah.
Hey, Jacoby, how you doing? Man, I'm good. I just tell you, you know, what do we always say? Blessed. We are blessed, man, which it's true.
If I was doing any better, there'd be two of me, man.
Right. That's right. Be a little bit better if we can get some rain, though, wouldn't it?
Goodness.
This heat out here, you know, we've had this conversation. So we had some rain. When did we have that rain? Like a month ago? Like we had like a solid rain overnight. Like I think we got like an inch.
If it happened while I was sleeping.
Yeah. And I said to somebody, I said, watch this. This is how every conversation is going to go today. How much rain did you get over at your house? Oh, I didn't check the gauge this morning. It blew off a while back, and but the neighbor over there said he got 1.25 inches. No kidding, no kidding. Now whereabouts is he? And then it's like,
oh, he's up the road from the old Miller farm.
Yeah, we've had that one a bajillion times out here.
Yeah.
But so just to say all that though, for me personally, to help somebody that doesn't move as fast as I do, it has to be like, what are they really needing?
Yeah.
Am I really caring about the person sitting across from me?
Yeah.
Or is this about me?
Yeah.
And it's never about me, even though I usually always make things about me.
Oh,
well, like just human nature, right?
Oh yeah. And some of that's you just trying to relate to somebody. You may not want to take the spotlight. You may not think, oh, I want to get my story out here so that this person can hear how great I am. Sometimes it's just we have a pressure of thinking, like when somebody tells a tragic story, like we feel a need deep down to say, man, I remember when something kind of like that happened to me, because we're looking at them, and sometimes it's from an empathy standpoint. We're thinking this person is hurting, they're opening up, they're vulnerable, so we feel like we got to return vulnerability with vulnerability to reciprocate that.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you're going back to talking about judging people too quickly, we might think, oh, this person is self-centered, when really they just want to relate to you, and they may feel pressured to relate this story to you. So I think that it's always good to give people the benefit of the doubt in that situation.
One of the things that stood out to me when you were saying that was reminding me of when I was talking and teaching about listening. We literally interrupt, not being rude. We interrupt to like do that, like the empathy or like the yes, I'm getting it. But what happens is we interrupt. Yes, I agree with what you're saying. And then it's like, I want to also make you feel even better, so I'm going to tell you this immediately.
Oh, that's the challenge of podcasting.
Podcasting for sure.
Really, it's finding the gap right there,
Yep.
the gap in the conversation where it's appropriate to interject
Yep.
and keep the conversation going. Because I want you to finish your thought. Like, this is the thing that I've, go figure, watched a bunch of YouTube videos on this. I want to know how to conduct a good podcast and to conduct a good interview. And so the main thing is to not talk and to just ask a question. But there are moments I'm trying to pick up on that are momentum points where if I interject right there, we're going to keep the conversation going at the same energy. We're going to be able to feed off of that. And it's the balance between finding that and just straight up interrupting.
You ever listen to Ed Milet?
Who?
Ed Milet? Oh my gosh. The greatest podcast of all time.
Okay.
Like, there's Rogan.
Yeah.
But it's different.
Yeah.
Ed Milet just came out with a book called The Power of One More. So
Okay.
I'm about a little ways through that. But Ed Milet has interviewed some incredible people. He interviewed that Charlie Rocket guy I was talking about. This is years ago when I found that podcast. But Ed Milet is notorious for this. Yes. Oh, that's so good. Yes. And like, that's all he's saying. And then he'll be like, Jackson, that's a great point. And then he'll say like, very intriguing question. And then it's like the other person goes off and then it's, yeah. Oh, that is great. I love that. Like, and that's, he's not saying a whole lot on his whole podcast.
Yeah.
He's literally doing that. And I found this deal I was telling you about, the listening thing. The thing that it says, why am I talking? That was the first one. Wait. Simple. Wait. Why am I talking? Second one's called listen with rapt attention. This is taken from John Maxwell, by the way. So rapt attention. I had to look up the word rapt, R-A-P-T.
Okay. I was thinking W-R-A-P.
No, rapt. Rapt. And I might not even be saying it right. But not just attention, but rapt attention. Rapt is like super focused, very intent attention.
Okay.
Okay. Number 3 is listen to understand, not to respond.
Big one.
Listen with the intention to ask the next best question, not just about whatever it is that we want to reply with. Mind like water, a mental and emotional state in which your head is clear.
Okay.
Okay. So when we're listening to somebody, our head is clear and we're literally hearing what they're saying. 5, dare to be dumb, act like you don't know. So in the podcast they talk, they're like, says he's sitting there with a guy who has more initials behind his name and more credentials ever. Yeah. And this guy says something and he's like, what? And asks him some questions and they leave the interview and he's like, you didn't know that? And he's like, of course I knew that, but that made that guy feel important. Yeah. It's like, oh.
I like that.
Great.
Yeah, don't be afraid to be the idiot in the room.
Right.
Yeah, I like that. That's awesome. Yeah, because I've heard that Jordan Peterson actually talks a little bit about that too. And you know, obviously he's a guy with a bunch of letters behind his name, or maybe he's just got 3. I don't know, but he talks like he's got all the letters behind his name. But all that, what it screams to me is curiosity above wanting to get your intelligence out there. Like, I've noticed that the smartest people in the world that have accomplished the most tend to be the most insatiably curious. Yes. Like, they just want to know.
That's number 7.
Yeah. Okay.
Tell me more.
Jumping the gun.
Encourage the person to continue to speak.
Okay.
You know, if you watch even the great debaters, like people that are really great at debating, like think Ben Shapiro.
Oh, yeah.
What does Ben Shapiro always do? He's like, tell me your point. Just listen. And then he'll make, 2 or 3 comments, but just the listening part of it makes his stuff so great. And then he's very articulate too. Yeah. Master the pause. So let others finish their thoughts and words. So like we want to fill the pause with anything. And that's kind of why, like when we're doing even the empathy thing, we say, you nearly done, Jackson? I'm going to tell you instead of just sitting there.
Yeah. It's like the phone call.
Just shut up.
Yeah.
Just shut up.
Just shut your trap.
Also in sales, the pause is powerful with sales.
Yeah, letting people answer. What is that? There's a clip I saw somewhere of where it says the first person to talk loses. Yeah. Oh, it's the Wolf of Wall Street clip. Yeah, it's where he says he's training them
the ultimate sales right there, Wolf of Wall Street, right?
He's training them to sell stocks, and obviously it's a Ponzi scheme, but he says, you're trying to sell this stock, and if you talk first, you lose. So you just let it pause. And I thought, that's dastardly, but man, that's genius.
You know what real estate agents do? They talk themselves into problems. Hey, Mr. Seller, the buyers came with this repair amendment because Jackson inspected the house and like he found everything that was absolutely a deficiency.
Man, these bus tires feel really good on my back right now.
Just kidding.
No,
but it's like the house was, it was built in 1940 or whatever. Yeah. You think the seller doesn't know the age of their home and the problems they have?
You would think.
They usually do. Yeah, and you know what they haven't done? Fixed those problems. And so then we as real estate agents are like, how dare they?
Oh, yeah.
How dare they give me a repairman with all this stuff and make me have to work and negotiate these repairs? Mm-hmm. Okay, Mr. Seller, you're not going to believe this. They gave us an Exhibit A with all of these repair amendments. How dare... No. I'm going to fight for them. We'll put it back on the market, do all this. Versus saying like, hey, Mr. Seller, the repairman that came over, we knew we had some problems with the home already. Take a look at that. What did you think?
You're setting the tone.
And now I'm just shutting the heck up.
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
I like that.
And they read it, and they're like, oh, I totally knew about that. Oh, yeah, dang, I was hoping he didn't catch that one. Oh, I didn't even realize that was a problem. I would have fixed that one a long time ago.
That's really interesting. It's like you're the other way, you're making them antagonistic when maybe they don't want to be.
And you know, one reason why that's the reason I have that conversation set up that way is because I've already had it probably 3 times before. You know, when I'm telling them about the whole process of a sale of a purchase or a sale of a home.
Yeah.
I've already told them that we're going to get these repair amendments a long time ago. So then when we get it, they're not like, oh my goodness, I didn't even know they could do this. You know, I've already discussed all that with them. But we as real estate agents think it's a shot against us for somebody to send me a repair amendment that has the stuff on it. Did you know I had 3 offers on this property? Yes, I do know you had 3 offers on this property. And did your seller know that the sink is leaking?
What else do we not know?
Did you know that the gas line, you know, like that could be a safety issue? No, but if somebody said to me, Jacoby, bro, did you, like they come over for a dinner party and they Dwight Schrute me and they're looking underneath my sink and they're like trying to find all the problems in my house.
Dwight Schrute me.
You know that episode, yeah. So I do watch everything on The Office. But
yes.
And it's like, dude, your sink's leaking. I'd have been like, oh my gosh, I got to call a plumber immediately. I would have fixed that up immediately.
Yeah.
And for some reason, when somebody comes and inspects the home and then they go back and do all this stuff, we're like, you want us to fix the leaking sink? Yeah, dude. Would you not fix a leaking sink if you knew about a leaking sink? Yeah. And so like, it's just kind of that whole like, and that's a real one.
Yeah.
There's always a,
it's always a leaky sink.
Maybe I am too obsessive compulsive about things too, because like the hot neutrals being switched, that would have been fixed a long time ago. Yeah. Or the hot cold.
Yeah.
My brain is taught left hot, right cold. And if I have to redo this every single day, I'd have been like, we got to get somebody over to fix that.
Yeah. But you ever notice that's the way it was growing up? It's like when you go to a friend's house, you got to put it right about here to when you're taking a shower at your friend's house, a sleepover or whatever. It's like the handle's got to be right here. Right. Wait a little bit for it to get hot. Like, you know, that was always the way it was.
I still stand outside the shower for too long because I'm like, the water's not warm. And it's like, yes, it is. Technology's good now. That's
the way it is at our house. Is we've got an old 1960s house, so it takes 2 minutes for it to get hot, and I'm like, I'm wasting so much money right now. Yeah, I feel like the older I get, I'm that dad that when the doors open, we're trying to air condition the neighborhood.
Yeah, trying to heat the whole outside.
No,
we don't have any kids, obviously, you know that, but we have 3 nieces and a nephew. So I was girl uncle for years, and you think like, no, we need a boy. The girls are awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I think like everybody's been telling me, girls and boys, they're obviously different in so many ways, but the stages of life that they're different in.
Right.
Some people say that boys are really easy when they're younger. Girls are more difficult when they're younger, but as girls get older, you don't have quite as many problems with the boys. Yeah. And that may not be true all the way across the board, but like for instance, at the church that I go to, we have a summer meeting every year, like a gospel revival, and young kids come from other churches to come stay with us. But we have a system where there's a lot of families that keep kids at their house because it's usually the families have kids who are friends with all these kids, and that's how they know them, and that's how they stay with them. Right. And the parents usually say, I would rather keep girls than boys because with the boys I always have to worry about things getting broken. And then there are parents who say I would rather keep boys than 100%. Girls because the girls there's going to be some drama. There might be this or that. So it's a give and take on both sides.
So my brother and I are 3 years apart, super close, best friends. Our best friends growing up were brothers. So they're same age as us. Yeah. And I still remember, I don't have a ton of vivid memories of being like young. I don't know where they went, but I still remember Jordan and I being 5 and 7 or 4 and 7 or whatever it was. And we had these my mom had these decorative glass eggs and we were on the other side of the couch and we were launching them from behind the couch like we were in war, whoosh, you know, like a grenade over to the other, like a recliner over there, and just plopping them right in. Like we're making straight shots every time.
Nice.
Go get them, do them again. Go get them, do it again. My mom had a glass coffee table.
Oh no.
And Jordan launches it, whoosh, shatters it. You know, broken windows from playing baseball. you know, there's just, yeah, of course. But then
that moment when something like that happens, your gut sinks.
Yeah, you know, I'm not a huge Dave Ramsey guy, but I think that he's done more good than he has bad. He gets a bad rap for like telling people not to do whatever.
Some of the extremism stuff that gets taken too far by people.
Let's be real. Yeah. He has created people a budget that 99% of people don't live off of, and so he's done some good stuff. But you know what I do love about his first step? You know, the first step is
save $1,000.
Save $1,000. You know, it's for emergencies. It's supposed to be for like water heaters and tires or whatever happens or emergency medical bills. I bet that emergency fund was used up left and right with me and my brother growing up on just random, like, are you kidding me? You know?
I had a random talking about just cannot let that story go without relating. Here we are again. I had one when I was 7 maybe, and I was a big yo-yoer as a kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never could get that to stay down.
Oh, dude, I loved Around the World, Cat's Cradle, all that stuff. And so I was practicing an Around the World once at my grandma's house, and she had those lights where it's got the glass around the light.
Yeah.
And I was doing the Around the World.
Oh my goodness.
Again and again. Bam. And it's a ceramic yo-yo, so it's not your daddy's yo-yo. It's like it's a good yo-yo.
I don't even know what my daddy's yo-yo even.
Well, you know, I use that phrase so wrong because I'll say it all the time whenever I think something's impressive.
Oh, when I
think something's impressive, I'll say, "This ain't your daddy's table. This ain't your daddy's coaster.
Yeah.
This ain't your daddy's microphone." And my brother-in-law goes nuts over. He's like, "That's not what that means." What he'll say is that what it means is it's in reference to alcohol. Like they'll use it like, "This ain't your daddy's lemonade," because it's got alcohol in it or whatever. I'm like, I don't care. I think it sounds cool.
That's so funny.
Anyway,
I'm like,
it wasn't
my daddy's yo-yo. That's just weird. Oh, what?
You're the analytical. Like, wait a minute, but why is that way? But anyway, it's a ceramic yo-yo, so it's thick. It's a thick boy, double C thick, and it crashed. It broke the light fixture. I hid it all in a plastic sack. I threw it away. Grandma comes home. There's no bulb or there's no glass around the light, and I'm just like, maybe it was the wind. I don't know. Like, I didn't want to admit to it.
Then the lying's the worst part.
Oh goodness,
that's hilarious.
You want to hide it, man. It's just so. And I remember what I did with the glass chippings of it too. It was a 2-story house that we lived in. I opened the window of my bedroom and I threw it outside.
That'll do it. They'll never find that.
No, I mean, it's like, as a kid, your brain's not developed yet.
Right.
You don't know what you're doing. Hence, throwing grenades in the house. But
that's funny. Okay, so I have to ask you questions.
No.
I know that you're the podcaster.
Now you're conducting the interview.
Yeah. Now that we've got you here, Jackson, there's a room full of people that are going to come in, and we have something we need to discuss. So my wife does 2 things that I don't know where she came up with it, but she always says happy crappy. So when we talk about our day, it's like happy day, crappy day. Like, I guess it's something that they did around the table with her growing up. No clue.
I like it.
So first thing I have to ask you, though, is not necessarily happy crappy, but first thing is, tell me what you think you're good at.
What I think I'm good at? I think I'm good at laughing.
Yeah?
Like I find a lot of stuff funny, and not trying to puff myself up here, but I think in a conversation, I tend to laugh a lot, and I notice that, like, what I appreciate whenever I'm talking to somebody is if they laugh at a joke I'm saying, or if they have a happy energy. And I tend to have a happy energy in conversations, so I would hope that I'm good at reciprocating happy energy and keeping a conversation's energy.
How do you get into happy energy? What if you're not? What if it's a sucky day? What if it's 107? Guy was rude to you. It's still stuck in your. How do you shift it?
I tend to just laugh compulsively at stuff, and I notice that I'll just do that, and that tends to make me laugh. Like, you ever watch videos of people laughing and it makes you laugh? It's contagious laughter. And I'm not talking like maniacal Joker type stuff here, like just laughing at whatever, but
it's funny you say that. So you know what, relating, you know what I do when I'm in a bad mood and I have to go to a meeting where I cannot be in a bad mood? It's in the car, because you have to be by yourself or else you look like a crazy person. I will get in my car and I will just smile like a mother trucker, man. and then I'm doing it, and you have to do it for longer than like 4 minutes. Like it has to be like 30 seconds on. And you get to that 4 minute mark, and you're like, I'm the biggest idiot in the world.
Somebody walks by the window and sees.
Just laughing, smile, just smiling there. And then it literally, like, you can't smile like this and it not make you happy. Like, your body doesn't know the difference there. That's good.
That's awesome.
That's good.
I may have to do that.
So tell me something that's made you happy lately.
I made some serious progress on getting systems in place for
this looks incredible.
Editing this podcast and stuff. Well,
so you don't send that out to somebody else.
I need to because that's the biggest struggle. The biggest downer for me has been pouring everything into this on the front end, leading with revenue, but not having I'm not saying I don't have the energy, not getting up and doing the mundane, the editing, the posting, and all that stuff.
Are you good at it?
I can be. Okay. I can be when I choose to do it instead of the whole find motivation then do it. If I lead with motivation, I tend to be good at it.
You work by yourself?
With this?
JNS?
No. There's an S.
Right.
So Sawyer, he's my business partner, and then we've got one employee, Coulter. He's a licensed inspector, and I've got one office manager.
Okay. You guys have an office, so you go to an office, you have a culture?
No. We have she works from home. It's all like, with as much as we're on the road, we have minimal time to go and congregate anywhere. Like the way that inspectors work, it's I'm not saying there can't be a culture that way, like there is with real estate agents. It's just with us, the office work is usually while we're on site. Yeah. Typically.
So what does your office manager do?
She schedules inspections. She gathers information for inspections. She follows up on payments. She makes sure that title companies have invoices, does a little bit of marketing work. I'm trying to get her trained to do more of that, tax stuff, just anything that I don't need to do. Yeah. That a licensee doesn't need to do.
Because you need to be doing inspections, or because she's better at it?
Yes.
Yeah.
She is much better at it. She's much better.
You think there's better podcast editors out there?
Oh, much more so.
Have you ever heard of Fiverr.com?
I've heard of it.
Fiverr.com. Thank you for sponsoring this podcast episode. Thank you. Just kidding. But you can literally get on there and find guys over in the Philippines, India, whatever, kind of virtual assistants, but not. I mean, there's people in America too, but the idea is that you can get stuff for as cheap as $5.
Wow. Okay.
So if you're going to do this, it's probably going to cost you $150 or something like that. But you can get somebody to be like, hey, we're going to send you these every time. Contract, it's going to cost me this much per podcast, that sort of thing.
I got you. Yeah. Nice. Is that a play on words, by the way? Fiverr, like I'll toss you a Fiverr and you do this for me.
I don't know about the Fiverr, but I just know it's because they have stuff for as low as $5. Oh, okay. It's 5 with 2 R's at the end. Fiverr.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's cool. Nice. So, what's something that's happened lately that's been crappy?
Lately that's happened. Maybe it's a good thing, but I can't think of one.
That's good. It's your good outlook on life.
Yeah. I mean, if there's anything that I just don't like about the week, haven't been going to bed at the right time or at a good time.
I feel like that's summer.
Yeah.
I think everybody is awake later, and so like your friends are sending you TikToks at 11:30 at night, and you're like, I gotta watch it because Jackson just sent me a TikTok. What is it?
Because reasons.
Because I don't need these 30 minutes of sleep that I just got scrolling mindlessly.
Exactly.
Okay, so we talked about what do you think that you do really, really well. What do you need improvement on?
I need improvement on doing the little things and doing the mundane things.
Specifically,
like getting reviews on Google is a big one.
So if you're seeing this, if you could go to google.com/Jackson
/JNS Home Inspections, leave us a 5-star review and you will get $20 in the mail. That's a big one. Yeah. Also, making social media content is probably a big one too. Yeah. Taking more time to do that. Being growth minded. I think I'm a little bit complacent right now with the growth that's happened. Like we've reached a point where we have the most 5-star reviews, but there's another company that's catching up to us. And I notice every time that they get within 10 reviews, I get a little skittish. And I'm thinking to myself, why am I not 100 reviews ahead of them? I should be, because of the amount of customers that we've had and the amount of opportunities I have to get more reviews. But I just don't take the time.
Does business come from reviews?
There is quite a bit. Okay. Yeah, the newer generations, they see that, and that's a big thing. Okay. And even if we don't get a lot of business from it, there's something about that as being like a billboard, as an advertisement.
Right.
You can't quantify quite as much how much business you get from it, but just the fact that you can say we're the #1 real estate company in West Texas. Oh, well, why? Because we have this many reviews.
Right.
Otherwise, how do you measure it? Like
Right.
there's all these voting metrics. There's, local voting metrics where literally you can type in the same email 5 times and you got 5 votes, and it's
Right.
not real, but there's a measure of this being real. So anyway,
Yeah.
long.
It's like Instagram, Twitter followers. Are they even real? Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
And people are going to Google you, and that's the first thing that'll pull up naturally through Google is because of that.
Home
Have you-
inspection company, Lubbock, that kind of thing.
And then you'll have that, yeah. Have you ever heard of content compounding?
No.
So, like, you take a video, this, whatever, you take a video, you take a podcast, then you basically can send it into a website that'll transcribe it. So now your transcription becomes a blog. If it's a video, and probably not this, but back and forth, but with the video. So, like, say you're going to be like, here's my top 10 tips for what you need to look for or do before you get your home inspected.
Oh.
Boom, do that. Then you go over here. Now it's a blog.
Uh-huh.
So you have a video, you have a blog. Now you can take a couple of those clips, break each clip down from each point from 10 to 1, 2, 3, 4.
Uh-huh.
And the way you've done your videos, you said, my next tip is,
Yeah.
and so it's not like you going, tip number 4, and they're like, why is this just 4? Where's 1 through 3 and 5 through 7 or
Yeah,
whatever,
you
right?
can get them curious.
Right. And so then you just go, my next tip is, and now you've got 10 pieces of social media content. And so you did one video, you got one blog, you've got 10 videos for reels.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got
Very nice.
some content compounding off of one video.
It's like talking to you. I get motivated.
Well, and ask me how good I'm doing at all that, right?
Isn't that funny how like we can preach to people what you need to be doing, but we're like, I'm not doing that.
You know what I have a problem with the social media is I feel like I know there's money behind it, like sales behind it. It doesn't feel like I'm working.
Yeah, because it's associated with so much wasted time. You
Now,
think?
my wife is phenomenal with social media because she's looking for young brides that are about to, or people that are about to get engaged or whatever to do weddings, right? And so where does a 22, 23-year-old female go to look at photos? Instagram. So she is on Instagram because that's where everybody else is. Right. I mean, yes, I could probably get some home buyers or home sellers from Instagram, but for me, the way I learned sales is face-to-face. Go. I got to be out there doing stuff. If I'm sitting at my computer on my Instagram, I'm like, God, why are you being lazy? Let's go. Yeah. It's not necessarily the case, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it. To me, it's because there's a degree of wasting time that's associated with social media.
Because are you really working the whole time you're on the social media? Or are you like, oh, look at this.
Well,
look at this cat.
I know, exactly. I mean, there's, Canva was the most recent one that was introduced to me. Jaden Stagner over at Progressive.
Yep.
Shout out to him. He taught me how to use Canva and I can create.
Bless your heart.
What I can do is I can create these little, what are they called? Just like little snippets or whatever. Yep. I could take a video from here, format it to fit the reel format or the stories format, and it's just like a quick little thing, it's kind of like the Joe Rogan micro clips.
Right.
Like that's what people mostly listen to. They listen to those little clips and then they want to go listen to the full podcast. Like what you were talking about earlier. Tip number 4. Where's the rest? Let's go here. Kind of thing. Well, also, by the way, hold on. Why bless my heart? You said bless my heart.
Because you said Canva and it's been around for like 17 years or so. I don't know. It's been around for a hot minute.
Yeah. Are people still using MySpace? I try to post there.
Yeah, Tom's still your number one friend I saw.
Yeah.
No MySpace. Yeah, but no, that's why Canva's been out for a hot minute. Probably, I'd say it's been really relevant probably the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
But
very behind.
It's okay. You're okay. We use a lot. I mean, it's fast. You make professional graphic design looking stuff on that thing with no problem.
Oh yeah.
Get you a pro account, you can have like 1 or 2 logins or one login, and everybody else can use it.
Yeah, I led with revenue on that one.
Yeah, that's good.
That's funny. Like you would think the more money you spend on something, the more motivated you would be to use it and actually take time with it. But I don't think that's true because I go into the backyard of most men's houses and it's like there's a $5,000 grill back here and it's covered in dust.
Yeah.
Or
that's just West Texas. But
there's that too. Yeah.
But my gym membership probably says the same thing. I needed to get a gym membership at this certain gym because I thought, well, people that are hanging out at this gym live in this neighborhood. And so I'm going to talk to people that are going to be making the kind of money that I would like to be making. And so I should probably go there because I need to network with those people. Right. That's all my thought. Right. Yeah. I've been like 17 times in like a year.
Hey, that's more than I've been.
They took away the sauna because of COVID. And then I'm like, well, I like the sauna, Yeah.
No,
but whatever.
So speaking of like sauna, that made me think of this. Have you ever tried one of those sensory deprivation tanks before?
No,
Have you heard of them?
I do cryo, but that's not the same.
Cryo?
Yeah,
Like,
cryotherapy.
I was just thinking like you got frozen. Like
Another sponsor we have is Restore Wellness. Thank you. No, just kidding. Yeah, cryotherapy.
Okay.
You go get in this tank and it literally. So you take off all your clothes and you get you can keep your underwear on, but they put you in a like wrapped towel. Then they put mittens. I was thinking oven mitts.
They put ovens on your hands.
Put oven mitts, but they put mittens on your hands, and then you get in this thing and they just shut this glass, and then it's just gets your body temperature down to like 49 degrees.
That sounds dangerous.
It's like jumping in an ice bath, but you don't have to get wet.
Oh, okay.
And
So it's like an ice bucket challenge.
Yeah,
but
yes.
like very, very quickly.
But no, it's like, so instead of going to take an ice bath after a hard workout, you go get into the cryo tank, the cryotherapy deal.
Okay.
But I've never done the deprivation thing. I think those are kind of, I think they like make your body feel like an out of body experience or something.
You get into this, you get in this tank that's completely sealed off from everything, and it's dark. There's nothing in there. You take off all your clothes except for your underwear, and you just lay there, and it's like a combination of salt and water, so that you float, but you don't feel the water around you because of the mixture of salt. So you just feel like you're suspended in midair. And all the quiet and all the suspension, it literally deprives you of all of your senses, so hence sensory deprivation, and it allows you to think, I guess.
Oh, it's a think tank.
Yeah.
Oh.
Bam.
Okay. I was thinking it was like there's a couple of those that are like good for your body. I don't know, but I totally know what you're talking about now.
Yeah. It's like, but I love that think tank. Like it's a literal think tank, not in the metaphorical way.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
So on the cryo thing, I was actually thinking about this on the way up here about questions that I wanted to ask. And as you said, cryo, that reminded me of a question. So you were born in the 90s, early 90s or late 80s?
80s, yeah.
80s, okay. But you're a 90s kid, basically.
Yeah.
So how old were you in 1998?
10.
10? Okay, so you're 10 years old, and you are in a cryogenic lab, and you are walking around on a field trip, and you fall into a cryostasis chamber, and the whole field trip team leaves you behind, and nobody knows where you are, and you're frozen.
You thought of this question on the way here?
Yeah, and you wake up, in the year 2022.
Okay.
What is the most surprising thing, or the thing that you cannot explain to yourself?
Am I still 10?
Yeah, you're still 10.
The thing I can't explain to myself, year 10. That's a great question. I feel like I adapt pretty well. I'd probably say it would probably be iPhones.
Yeah.
That'd be the craziest thing.
What is this
like
thing?
A TV computer on my hand.
Yeah, it's like, what is this thing? What's the closest thing you can remember to being an iPhone in 1998?
Nintendo? Game Boy?
Yeah, Game Boy.
Yeah.
With no backlight. You had to have the plug on the top of it. Did you ever have a Game Boy that you had to have the plug to have the light on it? Or I remember having my Game Boy and waiting for the lights to pass overhead so I could finish the Dr. Mario level.
Yep. Game Boy would probably be the only thing I'd think of. 10-year-old me was pretty oblivious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably because I didn't have too many stresses as a kid. We had a great childhood.
You know, I feel for kids today. I really do. Because they won't have some of the stuff that's just intangible that we grew up with. The peace, the sense of obliviousness. There's 10-year-olds today that know about the war in Ukraine. And I'm not saying that it's, that kids should always be oblivious, but there's certain things kids just don't need to know.
Yeah, we need to stay a kid.
Exactly.
Kid things.
Exactly.
Okay, so if you're going to did you have another question from when we were driving up here?
Oh, no, I'm just
Okay, so I got a question for you. There's a deal I posted years ago, and it always pops back up, makes me think of this, but it's 4 words to your 18-year-old self.
Okay.
But like, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
I would say, don't waste time going to college.
Yeah.
Don't waste any time going to college. Move to West Texas as quick as possible and marry that girl.
Where'd you move from?
I moved from Oklahoma.
Oh, bless you.
I know.
Those roads are the worst.
And we have tolls too. So where's the money going?
What part of Oklahoma?
Southwestern Oklahoma. Southwestern, South Central.
What's the city?
The city, it's a generous term. It's called Alex, but we say Ellick.
Ellick. Yeah.
Ellick.
Is that near Lexington and Purcell?
Dude.
Yeah, bro.
What? Okay. Talk to me.
Nope. That was a girl.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
But
the fact that you know it, man.
Yeah, man.
Dude, okay.
Crazy.
But Chickasha would be the closest recognizable city to there. Moved up here in 2012, or no, moved up here in 2015.
Yeah.
Yep. But I would say to my 18-year-old self, get here as quick as you can. Marry her sooner. And that's a tough thing to say because there was growth that happened. You know, none of that stuff happens in a vacuum.
How'd you meet her?
You know, through church camp.
Cool.
Type stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. What church camp?
Well, it was actually a gospel meeting. So we don't have church camps at the congregation that I go to. It's more like gospel meetings, gospel revivals. Gotcha. It's like a week-long thing where we do church every day, and that's how I met her. So
okay, I like it.
Yeah, where I was going to church in Oklahoma at the time, we were connected through a network of churches, and they were having a revival down here. A lot of us got on a bus together to go down. The same thing I was talking about earlier with the kids who come to visit us every summer. Yeah, basically. That's cool. I was that kid at one point in time.
You were going there to find a wife. You didn't know it.
Didn't even know it. No.
Hilarious.
That's a story. So when I went there, I was on my way to join the Army, actually.
Oh, really?
I was actually ready to join.
What did you want to do in the Army?
I tore muscles and got medically discharged.
No, what did you want to do in the Army?
Oh, what did I want to do in the Army?
Tear muscles and get discharged?
Exactly. No, yeah. When I got there, I was like, I really want to get out of here.
So you enlisted?
I enlisted, but I got medically discharged in basic.
Wow.
Yeah. I was going to be a 13 Fox fire support specialist, so basically infantry, but with a radio. So just the radio operator is what I was going to be.
Interesting that we're here with all of this equipment.
I know, exactly.
That's
exactly.
Cool. Huh.
But no, that's
your family in the military?
Nope.
Nope.
That's usually, so when I tell people where I'm from, that's usually the first question. You know where I'm from, right?
Alec, Oklahoma.
That's not where I was born, though.
Oh, my God. We just went through that. No? Where are you from?
I'll tell you what. If you can guess where I'm from, you get your next inspection 50% off. You get 3 guesses. No hints. And you can guess states. Just guess the state.
Okay. I don't know.
Come on.
I don't want to be offensive.
No, dude.
Arkansas.
No. Why is that offensive? Pause. No. Pause. Why is that offensive to say?
You just have this Josh Turner voice. Talk about a voice for podcast, right? Voice for radio. So I'm thinking like, all right, redneck, but he's not a redneck. He's just Southern. You know,
if you're basing it off that, you are not going to guess it.
Okay, then I'm not going to get anything.
Come on, keep going. I want you to see how offensive you can be.
No, Louisiana. No.
Oh, dude.
We're talking offensive. Sorry.
Get out of my podcast studio.
I don't know, man.
One more.
So you're not born in Texas?
Nope.
Okay, well then let's just go. Let's just say like I don't know. I don't think you're from the north because that's not always the thing. Let's just say Kansas.
Hawaii.
Oh, interesting.
Born and raised in Maui.
You look just like all of the Hawaiians I've ever met.
Exactly. Big Samoan
build. Yeah, look at you.
They actually, I was typecast for Moana, but I just wasn't available.
The Rock was better fit.
You know, he was available.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
You had the podcast. He didn't have anything going on.
I told him I just didn't have any.
Is there a better duo in Hollywood than the Kevin Hart and The Rock?
You know what? I'm a traditionalist, so.
I feel like I am too, but dude, they're so good.
To a degree, they're cinematic fast food. Like, there's no, like, yes.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, okay.
You said you like to laugh. Who are 2 better people to watch than those guys?
2 better people to watch than those guys to laugh? Chris Farley and John Candy.
Okay, all right.
So that
R.I.P.
That's my traditionalist view, but
that's also like, that would be where you could say it's not my daddy's comedy, because now you're stuck with John Candy and Chris Farley. But today's world,
I would say they're pretty.
You could even go like take all agenda politics out of things. I love watching Jimmy Fallon and Justin Timberlake together.
Okay,
hilarious. Okay, so this leads me into this. Saying these 4 guys actually leads me into, you're not a partier. I'm not really a partier at all. But once upon in my life, we used to go to a nightclub a time or 2. So the idea is that you're getting invited to go to the most awesome nightclub in Vegas. Okay, and it is like a party for you.
Yeah.
You walk in, it is packed, but you get to walk in with 5 people.
Okay.
Who are these 5 people you're taking with you that you're going to have the greatest night with?
5 people that I'm taking with me to have the greatest night with. And it's all in the context of we're all not partiers.
We could say skip that. I just have a vision in my head. So mine is not Chris Farley. Mine is The Rock.
Okay.
Kevin Hart, Justin Timberlake, Jimmy Fallon, Mark Wahlberg.
Okay.
So it's like you're 5. You're set up your squad. Who's your squad?
Okay, gotcha. My squad would be Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, Tom Cruise, Christian Bale.
Christian Bale, he's great.
Oh goodness! Come on, Christopher Nolan, the director.
I don't have any idea who that is.
He directed Inception and the Dark Knight trilogy.
Okay.
Denis Villeneuve, he directed the new Dune movie.
Are you guys gonna sit around and smoke cigars and drink a little bourbon and talk on
No,
there?
we're just gonna. I just want to ask him about the movies that they made. And I
Okay.
want to ask him about the roles.
You
and
are
stuff.
a real movie buff.
I'm a big movie buff, man. I would love to ask them about all that. And then that's 4, right?
That's 4. I don't have any idea who the last 2 that you said are, but Nolan and Dune. No, Dune was the movie.
Dune was the movie. Denis Villeneuve was the director of the movie.
Okay.
Denis Villeneuve. He's French, if you can't tell.
Okay.
And then the last one probably would be, I don't know, Josh Brolin.
Who's that?
Have you ever seen No Country for Old Men?
No.
Thanos?
No.
You don't know who Thanos is? Like the guy from the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
No, give me
the
another
big
one.
purple dude.
Give me another one. I'll probably tell you no as well. I'm telling you, I just fall asleep.
Oh, man. Then I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. So you
He's
can.
another
So this
actor.
this is like a great game to play because you
Okay.
can literally do this with like certain genres. You can say like, all right, only 90s, only 80s, only women, only
Okay.
only celebrities, only singers,
Uh-huh.
and it's just hilarious.
Okay.
So 5 like female musicians that would be your top 5 you'd hang out with.
Oh,
Because it's got to be hang out with because it can't be like talent wise.
Uh-huh.
Because you got to take into consideration personality.
Goodness.
Number 1, Adele.
Adele.
You don't want to. It's always going to be Adele.
Adele. Okay.
She's hysterical.
She is?
Yeah, you got to watch the carpool karaoke with her and
Okay.
James Corden.
James Corden.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would have to say the girl who sang the song, what is it? Sarah Evans.
That's a good one.
Yeah, she sung a lot of songs that I remember listening to in the 90s or the early 2000s, so probably her.
Are you gonna throw like okay, so Sarah Evans in the 90s, 2000s. I feel like then you're going straight country there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would want to mix in like, do you remember TLC?
The Learning Channel?
No, the women's rap group. Don't go chasing waterfalls. You never heard that song? All right, can't get on to me about movies when you haven't heard TLC's Waterfall.
Oh, come on.
Anyways, this one girl's name was Left Eye, and she burned her boyfriend's house down. So I feel like I need to like hang out with her a little bit.
I want to know why.
Like Adele,
what happened?
Left Eye. Probably. Oh, you said country, so all I can think of is like Reba McEntire.
The girl who sung the song, I took a Louisville slugger to both.
Oh, Carrie Underwood.
Yeah, I would want to
she'd be
know.
good.
I would ask her, is that based on real events? and
Probably not.
tell me what happened.
Probably not.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but like you see, like this is a game like you can play never
okay.
ending.
Let's do one more though. Okay. Authors. So you.
Oh, authors.
Top 5
okay.
authors.
Okay, so I have a massive book list by
From
the
any
way.
time. Yeah.
Malcolm Gladwell, 1000% first. He's my favorite author.
This is going to be an interesting dichotomy between your answers and mine.
So it's kind of funny because, like I can tell you my top books. Mm-hmm. So one of the top books I've ever listened to was Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights.
Okay.
Have you listened to that?
Oh,
dude, incredible. Incredible. So it's like sitting across from Matthew McConaughey having a beer. Like he's telling these stories. It's him narrating it. It's his life. And you feel like you're in it. So it's like favorite authors. Well, he's wrote the book, but he's not my favorite author. Andy Andrews was incredible. He's got a few good ones there. John Maxwell. Like John Maxwell's the GOAT.
nice.
So Malcolm Gladwell, John Maxwell.
Matthew McConaughey. So that's 3.
So I always have a book I recommend to every single person read. It's called The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson. The Dream Giver. I just recommended this like yesterday. I recommend it probably daily. It's about finding your God-given destiny. So people want to get into real estate because they're like, man, look how much money these guys are making showing houses. It's because real estate agents only put the highlight reels on Facebook.
Yeah.
Look at this, rates dropped. Oh my gosh, look at this, rates dropped. We talked about this on Wednesday. And then all of a sudden, like, we're not posting when rates go up. And so people are like, oh, rates are just dropping, aren't they? Why am I getting a 6.5 right now?
Yeah.
Okay. But we only post the highlights. So everybody's like, I want to get into real estate. No, you're not getting into real estate because like you just think you're gonna make great money and show houses when that is not even close to it. Like people don't ever see what realtors, lenders do in the background to hold deals together.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I say all that because I'll tell every single person that says, man, I want to get into the business. I'm like, you need to go read this book. What do you really want? Like, what is your dream? Well, my dream is actually, I just want to stay home with my kids. Okay, cool. I really want more time with them. I really want okay. So real estate is the tool now. Okay. And then we kind of go there, but that's my number 1 book.
Gotcha.
The Dream Giver.
Nice. I would have to say, so my number 1 would be Frank Herbert. So Frank Herbert wrote Dune. I'm big into Dune. I love the science fiction books.
I don't read anything that's not real life.
I know. Oh,
like,
well, actually,
I can't watch movies that I don't feel like I could be there.
But it's based on real life stuff. He bases all of it off of real life things, and he just twists it and turns it into a fantasy. And that's what's beautiful about the fantasy genre.
Did you say one of the books is like, okay, so it is fantasy? Like,
well, here's the thing. It's in the science fiction genre, but it's not like beep boop, lasers, computers, and that type of stuff. It's a mix of fantasy and science fiction. It's hard to explain without you having read the book, but one of the basic premises of it is that it's 10,000 years in the future, and there are no more computers. Human beings have been trained to be human computers now.
This sounds terrible.
Dude, it's awesome. Trust me, it's awesome.
I do not want that ever.
I don't know. I think we'd be a lot better off without some of the computers and technology.
I hate that people become or have become and are just so like lifeless, emotionless, like just black, white, like, you know, we're walking through life as zombies.
Yeah.
Biggest thing. One of my biggest things that I say all the time, I posted on Facebook the other day, we're not made to wake up, go to work.
I saw that. I love that, by the way. That's good
I don't know
stuff.
where I took that from years ago, but it's just my life mantra. Like, we are made for more than this. We are made in Christ's image, and we're not made to just go to work, pay bills, and die.
Yeah.
We're made for so much more. Like, we're working to further the kingdom, to further people's lives, to do these things, to do, you know. And so, like, to think of like us as being computers, I'm like, oh, such a sad thought.
Oh, no, it's not like that. It's not like that. It's just that the mental capacity of people is just through the roof now. Okay. They have human computers, which are called mentats. They're basically able to do massive amounts of computations in a split second. And they're meant to be the type of people that keep records for like the royal families and stuff. So basically it's like 10,000 years in the future, but feudalism is still alive. There's lords, there's barons, there's all that stuff. And they all have to have their own people who are like human computers to manage.
Series?
Yeah, there's 6 books written by Frank Herbert.
I'm like, how many times have you read this?
Once,
okay, but I didn't realize there's 6 of them.
Oh yeah, there's 6 books, but I've read most of the series, and I read the first book a time and a half. I think I've started it again, but anyway. So Frank Herbert would be number 1. Number 2 is a close tie, so I'll put number 2 and number 3 right there with each other. J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis.
I've heard of
them.
C.S. Lewis is.
You've heard of J.R.R. Tolkien?
Never read any of it.
You never read any Lord of the Rings? Have you seen the movies?
No, never watched Star Wars. Never seen Star Trek. Never.
Well, I can't say much. I'm a latecomer to the Lord of the Rings movies. I watched them.
Never done the Harry Potters. Never done. You name a bunch of this, and I've never done them.
Harry Potter, I could care less about. But Lord of the Rings is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
But
I did see one Hunger Games though one time. That's the same thing.
That literally means nothing.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, it's okay. The fact that you would compare Hunger Games. No. So okay, I'm going to put you in a very uncomfortable position here. You have to. So Lord of the Rings, you have the theatrical cuts.
Okay.
Which are 2 to 3 hours long, each of them.
Okay.
Then you have the extended editions.
Okay.
The extended edition of each of them is over 3 hours. The first one is about 3.5 hours. The second one's about 3 hours and 45 minutes. And The Return of the King, the third movie, 4 hours and 20 minutes roughly. So you have to take a whole day off, and you have to watch all 3 of those movies at the end of the day. How much money has to be paid to you to do that and to not fall asleep?
Because there has to be some will and some want. I don't know, bro. I'd say I would do that for like $250,000.
Wow,
that sounds miserable.
The price of your attention is high.
So I haven't even watched the whole first Top Gun.
Oh man,
I've been trying to watch it so I can go see the second one, and I keep falling asleep in the first Top Gun. I've started it 3 times.
When do you watch movies typically? Do you watch them
when I'm done working for at the end of the day? You know, when I go to bed.
11 o'clock, roughly?
Like 10, 11, 9, 10, yeah.
Okay. So,
but even when I go to theaters, it's like a $12 nap. Yeah, you know.
$12 nap.
That's all it is. It's like, oh, got my drink, got my crunch of BBs, you know, those little things they only serve there. And then I get my $14 popcorn that my wife likes. And then I sit down in there and I'm like, let's watch this movie. And now they give you recliners and I'm just right to sleep. Immediately.
I love that.
We used to go to movies all the time. Okay, I want to do this.
Okay.
So we haven't gotten 3 or 4. Well, who's number 4 and 5?
Okay, so Herbert, Tolkien, Lewis, Cormac McCarthy would be number 4. He wrote No Country for Old Men. The Road is another book by him. Just a very, very good author.
You are such an old soul.
Yeah.
You're like, well, let's just get you a cabin in Wyoming.
No, because I'm an extrovert. I need to be around people. But
you can't talk to your cows.
No. Number 4 would be, Alexandre Dumas. He wrote The Count of Monte Cristo, Three Musketeers.
I've never seen that one, but I've heard of The Count of Monte Cristo.
Yep. So he wrote the books for those.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be my number 5. So just great old authors that just
Count of Monte Cristo is the one with the like they're after a thing, right?
Explain more.
I don't know. I've never seen it.
There's a lot of books where people are after a thing.
I was like, what's the movie though? Like, isn't there a famous movie?
Yeah,
Count of Monte Cristo. Okay.
Count of Monte Cristo. Yeah, he's framed for murder, and he's put into jail for years and years and years, and he has years to work out his revenge. Meets a guy in jail, escapes, and is about to take his revenge. It's all about a revenge story about how a guy gets caught up in the idea of revenge and how it takes you over.
Yeah.
How it changes you, goes from an innocent man, like the allegory of how he literally goes from an innocent man thrown into jail to getting consumed by revenge and becoming this horrible revenge-consumed person that deserves to be in prison, even though at the beginning he did not deserve to be. So it's like that whole concept.
Interesting.
That's what I'm into. I'm into literary themes like that. I look for allegory a lot. Like in Lord of the Rings, I'm always looking, because J.R. Tolkien was a staunch Catholic. He hated allegory. He hated the idea of making a person watching a movie or reading a book and play with their mind to think, okay, this is what I'm actually trying to tell you. But everybody does that with his work. They look for the Christian spiritual allegory in what he's trying to write about. The whole idea of the one ring to rule them all basically is the concept of selling your soul to the devil. You put on the ring, you become invisible, you become all powerful, but you lose your will to Sauron, the Dark Lord, because he technically controls you now, kind of thing.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I watch TV shows.
Cooking shows and stuff?
No. We were talking about this last night at dinner about like the greatest shows that have ever come on. And I have not seen Stranger Things, Ozark, or there's another one that was being talked about. And because like Netflix lost 2 million subscribers, or like 1 million subscribers last quarter. Did you see that? They lost 1 million subscribers in quarter 2.
Didn't see that.
And the video that we were referencing was talking about, well, they don't have any quality shows on. They did the Cuties thing that lost a bunch of people. Yeah. Then they just have nothing out there. And now that Stranger Things and Ozark are done, and then there's another one that they didn't do, whatever. But we were talking about like, what was the best show series you saw? And I was like, well, The Office is my number 1. I love it. It makes me laugh. Mindless humor. Also, if you've ever worked in an office, it's to a T.
And I remember you had a little office thing on your door.
Yeah. But then the next one, like the next best TV show I think I've ever saw was Sons of Anarchy.
Okay. I never seen that one, but that's the one about the biker gang,
Bro,
right?
it is intense.
I bet.
We were talking about it, like I binged watched that show, and I could do that till like 2 or 3 a.m. on accident. And then I would like get in my car the next day and I wouldn't realize what was reality and what was real, what was false. I'd be like, there's the Mayans. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah, it's crazy. Okay. We talked about books though. Did you have you done David Goggins kind of thing yet? Have you done David Goggins? Oh my gosh.
So full disclosure, self-help, development, business development, it's not my strong suit. I would like to be into it more. It's never been my strong suit, but I see the utility in it. I've read The One Thing. I've read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, read The Millionaire Real Estate Investor, all those books. Yeah. I get it. Those are kind of
some good KW things.
So some lower level
we're past that
ones, but I've read Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah. So. Okay. Robert Kiyosaki has gotten a little crazy lately. I don't know if you've watched all his stuff now.
I've heard.
I think it's just he's gotten older and it's like
no filter.
Yeah, no filter. Get off my lawnness.
Get off my lawn.
Okay, well, if you want some self-help, but like you don't want to stick around for a long super podcast.
Oh, I don't mind.
John Maxwell has his John Maxwell Company Executive Leadership Podcast, and they're like 21 minutes long, 18 minutes, 16 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 17 minutes.
Okay.
Very short, but gives you kind of quick nuggets. And then Patrick Lencioni's stuff is really good. Those are more like leading teams sort of thing. Nice. But if you're like not good at self-development that much, but you did say you want to be growth-minded.
Yes.
Have you read The Energy Bus? Oh, that's a great book.
The Energy Bus.
The Energy Bus. Okay, The Energy Bus.
I watched The Magic School Bus growing up.
Not the same. Energy Bus is top 5, so I'll give you my top 5 book list. The Dream Giver. The Energy Bus. I'd say Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell.
Okay.
I've got a whole list here.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this is when people are like, "Hey, send me a list of books."
Show that to the camera. Just show that whole list there.
This is just my notes.
Goodness.
I haven't read in a while because I got burnt out. That's why I switched over to podcast.
Okay.
David and Goliath is another one by Malcolm Gladwell that was great. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're not a David Goggins guy. He was a Navy SEAL. Incredible story. You go listen to this book. It's 13 hours long, but they actually stop the book while he's reading it and they go into podcast form.
Okay.
And so they'll be like, David, what are you thinking about right there? And then he goes in and talks about it, and then they go back to the book. Uh-huh. So it's incredible, but it is intense. So then, it's no secret now, but he went to, then there's a book that you have to read right after that, because it's called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Then the book you have to read right after that, it's called 31 Days of Living with a SEAL by Jesse Itzler. Do you know who Jesse Itzler is?
No.
He owns the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay.
And he's a billionaire. Uh-huh. And he married Sarah Blakely. You know who Sarah Blakely is?
No.
Founder of Spanx.
Okay.
Was a billionaire. Then they fell in love.
And they went to go live in the Arctic with SEALs.
No. 31 Days of Living with the SEAL. David Goggins was a Navy SEAL.
I know.
And so he goes to live with them. And I've never laughed harder in my life than I did listening to this book.
I was not expecting that. I was not expecting laughs.
Absolutely hysterical.
Okay.
And it's a billionaire that is like doing things he doesn't want to do when who in this whole world can do whatever they want to do?
A billionaire.
A billionaire.
Yeah.
And when you take, what is the whole point of making money?
Well, to most people, it's to do what you want to do.
Freedom. Yeah. Time. So if you're a billionaire, you control your freedom and your time. Mm-hmm. And David Goggins takes it away from him, and it is absolutely hysterical. And it's just written really well.
Nice.
And then I'd say Green Lights after that. But I've got all of the proper books I'm supposed to say, like the
proper books you're supposed
Coach
to
John Wooden's Pyramid of Success, right? Think and Grow Rich. Like I've got those on here. But the ones that another book that was really good was called Leadership and Self-Deception. Uh-huh. It's by the Arbinger Institute. Like it was made for teaching. It's good. Mm-hmm. Have you read Shoe Dog by Phil Knight? It's Phil Knight's story about him starting Nike.
Okay.
It's a phenomenal book. And then Patrick Lencioni, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team is incredible. Mm-hmm. You had Grit by Angela Duckworth?
No. It's safe to assume that if it's a self-help book, I probably
This is like me with movies. Like I'm over here like, how have you not? And you're over there with me with movies like, how have you not?
I know.
Okay, you should start with The Dream Giver.
Okay.
And then The Energy Bus. And then 3 Feet from Gold and Go for No. Those are all like little small books.
Okay.
So I'll send these to you. I'll send you the whole list.
Yeah, just like fire hydrant, just with the whole list. You need to read all these.
So do you?
By next week.
I don't know how long we're going here, but do you follow Tim Ferriss?
I do follow Tim Ferriss. I have seen some of his stuff.
So yes. I just got an email today called his 5 Bullet Friday, and it was something I wanted to incorporate into my life for my people, and it is a lot of work. And all it is 5 things. What am I reading? What am I watching? Podcast I'm listening to, article I'm reading and sharing, and then quote I'm pondering. So, what are you reading? Anything?
Yes.
What are you reading?
I'm currently reading the Gulag Archipelago by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. It is a book.
What?
It is a book.
Is that a cookbook? Did you say goulash?
The Gulag Archipelago.
What is that?
So it is a series of 3 books. I'm reading the abridged version of all 3, where it's a guy who escaped or who was let out of the Gulag system in Soviet Russia, and he's writing about that whole system. And he's writing about how it came about, basically how communism took over Russia. And what's so interesting about it is he writes about how he even played a part in it, how he was complicit in it. And he's writing from that perspective of basically how liberty dies.
Bro, I think, don't take this the wrong way. Inspectors are smart guys. They have to know a lot about a home. But I'm like, are you, capping your potential by not, I feel like you're just brilliant. You need to be using your mind more than just inspecting a home.
I just enjoy learning stuff. I'm a nerd. No, actually, I watched a comedy show about this recently. There's a difference between a nerd and a geek. I would be considered a geek. No, really. I'll send you the video. The guy does a Venn diagram of nerd and geek and what's in the middle. Anyway. I would be considered a geek. Yeah. I'm just a geek.
You just geek out on things.
I do very much so. But Gulag Archipelago would definitely recommend it.
What are you watching right now?
I am currently watching. Rewatching The Lord of the Rings a little bit.
All right. That's cool.
But specifically what I'm watching mostly is just cooking and HGTV shows with my wife.
That's her go-to?
That's kind of her go-to, her mindless thing at the end of the day after, taking care of
I totally get it. I don't get to choose what we watch either. I'm trying to remember what we're watching.
Yeah.
It was on HBO, actually. When you go into Prime Video, and then you like click something, it takes you here, and then it takes you here, and then somehow we got onto, but it was really good. Can't remember what it was.
But realistically, what I'm watching is
the
probably
Flight Attendant is what it was called.
Okay.
If you haven't seen that one, it was intense.
Okay. Realistically, what I watch is like a lot of micro YouTube videos throughout the day.
Okay.
Of like little stuff, like little Jordan Peterson clips.
Yeah.
And those types of little clips of snippets of wisdom, that's kind of what I like. If I'm on a vacant house, I've got those playing in the background on my YouTube Premium account.
I was about to say, you got to get the premium.
Yeah.
Because I do the same thing.
Yeah, I tend to look down on people who don't have the premium. I'm kind of snobby.
I like go back and forth. I'm like, I don't want to pay for that. And then I'm like, why did the video stop? Oh, yeah, because I canceled that. Yeah. No, I totally get it. Okay. Who's your podcaster? Who are you listening to?
Real Talk West Texas. You can listen. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you for sponsoring. Oh, wait, that's it.
Narcissism to the max. My favorite podcast to listen to. So I've actually got two. So there's a podcast that a couple of brothers in Christ do. It's called the Brother Cousins Podcast.
Okay.
It's three.
The Brother Cousins?
The Brother Cousins Podcast.
Is it on Apple?
Yep, it's on Apple. It's on Spotify. It's on
up right now.
all the different podcasts, and it's just three cousins who talk Bible. They talk for maybe about an hour, 30 minutes sometimes, roundtable type stuff. Right now, their topic this month is about the kingdom.
Okay.
They've been going on for almost a year now. I think maybe 9-10 months, but great stuff. And then outside of that, I listen to a podcast called Gom Jabbar, Gomjabbar or Jabr. It is a Dune podcast where they talk about the Dune books.
Okay, so I probably wouldn't enjoy that.
Yeah, you would not enjoy it.
Okay. Anything, any quote you're pondering lately?
Yeah, actually, there's a. I'm obviously not pondering it that deeply. If I can't quote it right off the top of my head. Oh, whoops! I'm calling somebody on accident. Yeah, it's actually a quote by G.K. Chesterton that somebody sent to me a while back.
Who's G.K. Chesterton?
G.K. Chesterton is I would call him not a Christian author, more like just a philosopher. He wrote a book called
Common Sense 101, Lessons from G.K. Chesterton.
Yeah, just kind of a guy of like all wisdom type.
This guy was born in the 1800s. Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. So what did he say?
He said that to keep an open mind is akin to keeping an open mouth. It is to close it again on something worthwhile. So it's like the whole idea of an open mind. People sometimes think, oh, it just means I need to be open to everything and always open to everything. Well, it's not always that. Sometimes it's the whole idea is opening it and then closing it again on something that you found worthwhile. And it doesn't mean
something that happened that made you need to.
Not something that happened, but just something I see. I see people with no convictions, and that's like the whole open-minded thing. It's like they take open-minded to an end that is, I don't believe in anything. I'm just open to everything, and I have no convictions. Whereas the whole idea of open-mindedness is to be open to the point where you find something that you believe, that's true, that's objectively true. You close in on it, it's yours, and that's your conviction kind of thing. And that's the whole point of the quote.
You're a very, I wouldn't say religious person, spiritual person.
No, I would say religious and spiritual.
Yeah. I'd like to think the same myself.
Yeah.
West Texas has a lot of that, and it's really easy for us to talk about that. Mm-hmm. What is the biggest challenge that you face with that in your business?
I would say the drinking thing.
Yeah?
Probably is the biggest one. Is
for yourself or for everybody else?
Just for everybody else. So here's the thing. I don't drink.
Okay.
The party life, it's not my thing.
Right.
And I understand there's a difference between the drinking and the partying. Yeah. There's a difference.
Cannot do partying.
So it's my personal conviction not to drink alcohol.
Okay.
But I've been asked to sponsor the keg. I've been asked to sponsor alcohol for things. Yeah. And I always tell people, it's always, I get nervous. I'm like, because I'm having to explain myself.
To whom?
To other agents and to other people.
Because you say no.
Yeah, because I say no. And I'm saying, hey, I can't do it. Okay. And I tell them, listen, I'm not casting judgment on you. I'm just telling you this is my conviction.
Let me do the food and let them do that.
Exactly. That's what I say. If you can get it from somewhere else, that's fine. But it also goes a step further. It goes to social events. Mm-hmm. I'm not the guy who wants to be around it personally, because it's associated with a lot of bad things in my own life. I just don't want to be around it. I heard somebody say this, and this is a hot take, but we'll talk about
it. Let's hear it. I'll tell you if it's hot.
Somebody said alcohol is the one drug that we have to explain not using.
Chris Farrell posted that.
Yeah.
Tell me, so we have to explain using it or don't have to explain using it?
We have to explain not using it, or we feel, or people compel us to explain.
Oh, I see. I got it backwards. So we have to explain why we're not.
Yeah. So like you tell somebody,
hey, you want to drink? And then they're like, no. And they're like, why not? Why not? Why not?
Yeah,
I totally get it. Yeah.
That kind of thing.
It's because it's legal.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's why.
And it's going to be the same thing with marijuana, you know, in some instances, but that's very much where I'm coming from. Is like,
all you have to do is tell people you're recovering.
No, I get it.
Honestly, like,
well, that's a good
you go
point.
to an awkward stage and people are like, oh, okay, cool, congrats.
Yeah, because they don't realize it, but they don't realize that, you know, it's destroyed families, it's destroyed lives, it's killed.
Yeah, my
people.
dad's parents were both alcoholics, and so dad doesn't drink, but maybe like it was like a margarita once every quarter at Chili's.
Okay,
like that was like all I ever saw my whole life. And my wife and I are huge winos. Love the science behind it, and I'm not a science guy. But whenever I went out there and I learned that literally the oceans create this weather, that creates this wind, that creates this temperature, that falls down here to see this one that's grown here, that's planted here. That one's planted a little bit sideways, and it does. That's why I got into it. And then you can literally smell, taste, do all these things because of those things.
Wine is one of those things where you literally learn the snobbery behind wine.
Right. And then that's also like whiskey. You can do the same thing. I got into bourbons when COVID happened, because all my friends were into bourbons. And so it's like, what are we going to do? Well, Specs has a sale, or Specs got something in, and I'm like, okay, let's try that. Let's try this. And then it became like, well, now we're trying to make a fancy thing.
Right.
You know, it wasn't like I think there's a difference between the, and it's still a social, cultural, whatever thing you want to say, but there's a difference between like, Jackson, welcome to the happy hour. Would you like a vodka soda? No. Jackson, let's come over here. I'm going to try to make this crafty, crazy thing, and we're going to see if we can pull it off. Like, not necessarily you personally, but it's like, that's kind of what we were doing with it. And then, or it was, and still do with it, is like, hey, we've got this bottle of wine. It is from this specific street. Like, I've been to Napa pretty much every year because we don't have kids. It's a Haley nice thing. We go out there. I can tell you exactly where wineries are that I'm buying wine from now. And it's just kind of like the mom and pops of Lubbock too. You know? Like I know the Englishes. I know English Newsoms. I know Steve Newsom. Like I know Kim McPherson. I know these guys, so I know exactly where the vineyards are. And it's like it just kind of means something more, but that's a whole different animal.
Oh yeah.
The reason. But you're right, it's the only one you have to explain not using. And it's because of how people treat you. But you shouldn't be hanging out with those people if they're you can do that anyway.
And really, I haven't gotten any kickback from people. It's people have been pretty understanding about it. And I just think the only drawback is I don't really get to be a part of a lot of the events and stuff just because of a personal conviction on that. But
I haven't ever, I don't think I've ever had anything where you were like, I'm not doing that. Because I've never thought about that.
Oh, yeah?
But yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. And you know, it's just, I don't know. It's not my scene particularly. That's probably the biggest thing.
Well, and realtors do happy hours. Realtors do broker opens. Realtors will do anything and everything to not be busy, actually selling houses. I love it, but my wife and I both have businesses that are people's hobbies. She's a full-time wedding photographer. You have 3 cameras in here. This is not your full-time gig. It's a hobby. That is her with her cameras. People are like, oh, I got a camera. Can you teach me how to take photos? I'm gonna hey, Jacoby, I got my real estate license. Can you know, I'm just going to dabble here.
We should have brought her here to teach me how to get exposure correct and all that stuff.
She would be actually incredible to talk to about how to talk about a women built business. The year she and I met, she made $11,000. And now she's like, I don't know what she did last year. I think 165, something like that.
Nice.
As a 29, I guess it was your 28-year-old female.
That's awesome.
Like she's very impressive.
That photography game, it's competitive.
It is competitive.
But
and
she does well.
Talk about something that nobody ever talks about in the photography world. You can age out. 22 to 23-year-old are the brides. They don't want a 45-year-old man shooting their wedding. So if you look at all the photographers, they're all mostly young women. So
I didn't think about that. That's a good point.
And real estate doesn't have that, but we both have hobby careers. Okay, next question I have for you. I don't know where we got off on that tangent. Next question I have for you is, who do you know that you've been enjoying lately, or who do you know that I should know?
Okay, I'm going to answer that as 2 separate questions. Who do I know that I've been enjoying lately? My son. He's been awesome. Yeah. He's been really fun. He's getting very challenging.
How old is he?
He's 2 1/4.
2 1/4. That's not, you're supposed to say he's like 27 months or something like that.
That's the difference between how women answer that question and how guys answer that question.
2 1/4.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 8/16.
That's like the movie Grown Ups. It's like, how old is your son? He's 48 months. That's 4.
Yeah. This is going to sound bad, but like I never realized how good women were with math until you start talking about how old their kid is in months. And they're like, yeah, 67 months. Like, wow.
Like, I can't
What is the age group where they stop saying it in months?
2.
2. Okay.
So
So
2 is really, it's like anything between 0 and 2 is typically the
months.
I mean, I don't know anybody that says 24 months.
Okay.
But
I don't know anybody that says 2 1/4, but
now you do.
Now I'm here for it now.
So my son, really enjoying him as he's getting older and as his personality is starting to grow.
That's cool. Is he like you? Is he like your wife?
Yes.
Yes.
He's very much like, he's stubborn like me for going to sleep.
Yeah. How would you describe your wife?
How would I
I've
describe
never
my
met
wife?
her, and I don't know anybody on your podcast might not know her. So how would you describe your wife?
Homebody.
Okay. And you're an extrovert.
Yeah, homebody, introverted, but I'm a homebody to a degree
You are?
too.
Okay.
But she's homebody, introverted, very mechanically minded. She's a homemaker. She loves being at home with our son and soon to be daughter.
She stayed home full time.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
full time.
Okay.
Full time. Just a good Christian woman.
Yeah.
Love her to death, and she's so patient.
That's
She's
awesome.
so patient.
Yeah.
She
Jackson, quit messing around with your podcast stuff in there. No, I'm just kidding.
She dealt with me rejecting her 3 times.
Yes.
And we still got married.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
She rejected you. I want to make that sense. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, it was me. It wasn't me rejecting her in the traditional sense. It was me being oblivious to her being interested.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that meme.
That's why
of the
you
guy.
said you would have moved here earlier.
Yeah, exactly. So so my son, and who you should know that I know, man, I feel like you know everybody.
Yeah, well.
So I don't know who I know that you should know. I mean, you should know my son. He's awesome.
All right.
He's awesome. He's fun. He loves dinosaurs.
That's cool.
Yeah. His favorite is a velociraptor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll answer that question. We had a praise and worship night the other night at the office.
Okay.
We started that up, and I feel like you have to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. And I talk a lot.
Yep.
So it's always a thing for me that I'm like, I want people to know I'm backing myself with what I'm doing, not just what I'm saying.
Right.
Like my word is my bond and everything, right? And so we had praise and worship night because I wanted to be able, like, we had people going through stuff, and I'm like, I want to take my people to church with me. If they could just go to church with me, they would be better, like feel better, not like be better. They would feel better,
Right.
And so I'm like, let's just bring church to them. So we had a praise and worship night. It was super organic. We had it outside, and then the other day we're like, hey, it's time for our next one. We've been planning it for a month or so. 108 degrees, so we moved it inside.
Wise decision.
Yeah. So we had, I don't know if you actually know Corey Riley, videographer.
I don't know.
Corey's brilliant. He does a lot of videographer stuff for us too, but he has a full-time gig. Super brilliant guy. But he plays in Church on the Rock band. I'm sorry, he's going to kill me if he listens to this because it's actually the one that's really good.
Okay.
So apparently there's like 80 people that play. Anyways, he and his wife came, they sang, did lead worship, incredible. They did a great job. And then we brought in a guy named J.D. Small, who used to be at Trinity Church for years, and now he sells metal roofs and buildings and build out stuff with Dave's Roofing.
There you go.
But he's more about like, how do we grab men and like create this culture of like, where are we at as men and what are we doing? And like, it's like a men's ministry that he's done just in what we would call in the world.
Okay.
So I would say you need to know J.D. Small.
There you go. J.D. Small. And he's just doing that work at the Church on the Rock thing, or
no?
is he,
JD was not at Church. JD was at Trinity Church on the Loop. South
Okay.
Loop.
And
now
he sells roofs now.
Yeah, he quit the church to go into the world.
Okay. Did you quit the church to go in the world?
Like like to minister like.
Oh
to
no,
the
I
world,
got
so
you.
I was telling him. I heard another guy tell like as soon as he quit being a minister, it was crazy about like how he felt like he could actually minister
Interesting.
because people are real with you.
Yeah.
Versus like putting on the front and being a little fake.
Very interesting.
It's interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. What was the other question I was going to ask you? I had another one for you, but
It's all good.
Yeah.
As we get to close to wrapping up here, we usually go about 2 hours, and we're getting kind of that point.
Cool.
So I usually like to end. I've done a couple of different ending segments here, and I don't know how you're going to feel about this one. So maybe I'll edit it out completely, because the last time I did this, it crashed and burned. Because what it was a dad joke competition to see who could laugh, or who would fail at laughing. You know what I mean.
Yep.
But
You can't laugh.
Yeah, I had Paisley Cooper and Ashley Laycock on here, and they are extremely competitive.
Okay. I know Ashley. I don't know Paisley.
None of them laughed because they were treating it like a competition.
Oh, I'll probably be terrible at this.
Okay. Terrible in the sense that you will laugh?
Yeah, I'll laugh.
Okay. All right. So, do you know any good dad jokes?
Not a ton of Wi-Fi in here. Trying to download one. I don't know.
Okay, but that's the thing. So we'll treat this as a one-on-one competition.
Okay.
We get 3 strikes. The first one to 3 laughs loses.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. You going first?
Yeah. Okay.
Let me pay attention to you.
All right.
Yeah. Hold on. I feel like I need to take a drink of water. It's like, have you seen the tortilla slap challenge?
Yes. I saw
that is what Kevin Hart and the
Kevin Rock. I'm picturing a hybrid of Kevin Hart.
Have you seen them do impressions of each other?
Yes. It's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So a guy is walking by a prison for midgets.
Okay.
And he sees a prisoner on top of the fence, crawling or climbing up to get out. He shouts up at the prisoner and says, "Hey, what are you doing?" And the prisoner looks down at him and screams and snarls and yells and curses at him and then falls down and runs away and escapes.
Okay.
The guy looks around and says, "Man, that was a little condescending."
That's pretty good.
You got it.
That's good.
Okay.
I was supposed to not even laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. I
forgot what I was doing here.
Okay, you ready? 2 sheep walk into a bar.
Okay.
I thought that was pretty good.
All right. Okay. One to one. Okay. All right. Whew. I have an irrational fear of elevators. I'm taking steps to avoid them.
Pretty good.
Okay, that was more refined. Okay. All right.
All right.
Well done there, by the way.
Yeah, I remember that I was not supposed to enjoy it. I told my wife that a husband is like fine wine, that we get better with age. The next day, she locked me in our cellar. You liked that one, though.
I did. I love that one. That was good. That was very good. But I'm trying not to fall behind here.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. What do you call a factory that makes products that are just okay? A satisfactory.
That's good.
Yeah, okay.
That's good.
See, I like clever.
That is clever.
Okay. All right.
What's Forrest Gump's password?
What?
One Forrest, one.
Kind of weak sauce.
Okay.
What do German eggs love to drive?
No idea.
A Volkswagen.
That's pretty good. I like that one. That's good. That's pretty good.
All right. 1-2.
How many telemarketers does it take to change a light bulb?
How many?
Only one, but it has to do it right in the middle of dinner.
That's just so true.
I know. It's really
That's just so true. That's not as funny as it is true.
It's just sad.
A skeleton walks into a bar, says to the bartender, "Hey, bartender, I'll have a beer and a mop, please."
Okay. I guess I didn't get it. A skeleton walks into a bar, says, "I'll have a beer and a mop, please." Oh, because it goes right through. I'm like,
you see, because he drinks and it just goes right through.
Just went right over my head.
But none of that counts.
Yeah,
okay,
like,
so still 1-2.
Yeah, still 1-2 here.
All right.
Back in the day, my granddad used to tell me that he could walk into the grocery store with $2 in his pocket and he'd walk out with a loaf of bread, a dozen eggs, a bit of butter. But today you can't. You know why?
Why?
Security cameras.
That was good.
Thank you.
All right, 2-2.
Yeah.
All right. Did you hear the one about the knight that invented credit cards?
I did not.
His name was Surcharge.
That's clever.
Oh, man.
That's clever. Yours are always clever.
But not funny enough to get you. Okay.
What should you do if it's cold?
What should you do?
What should you do if it's cold?
What?
Stand in the corner. It's 90 degrees.
Very
I
clever.
figured that was right up your alley.
Very clever.
I need a Lord of the Rings joke.
Oh, I have plenty of those.
I wouldn't get them, though.
But you tell them, and the thing is that's what would be so frustrating about it is you wouldn't get it, but it would make me laugh.
It's true.
What do you call a line of men waiting to get a haircut? A barbecue.
No, that's good.
See, I need to quit with clever.
I'm literally like trying to think like, what would you call that?
Yeah. You're getting too analytical with it.
Why do we tell actors to break a leg?
Why?
Because every play has a cast.
Hats off, but no laugh. All right, I'm going to pull out a personal favorite of mine. It's actually not a bad joke. It's just an old story that was told, and I just found it to be funny. So it's actually a C.S. Lewis story that he told, and C.S. Lewis was known to be very witty. So I'm going to see if I can keep your attention with this one because it's kind of like a movie.
Okay.
It was, and I'm going to do a British accent. It was a year ago in September, a day I well remember. I was walking up and down in drunken pride when my knees began to flutter, and I fell down in the gutter, and a pig came down and lay by my side. As I lay there in the gutter, thinking thoughts I could not utter, I thought I heard a passing lady say, "You can tell a man who boozes by the company he chooses." And then with that, the pig got up and walked away.
It's good.
You see, because you think it's about the pig, but the pig walks away, and because he's like, I don't want to be associated with you.
It's totally good. We do this thing that somebody was mansplaining something to my wife one day, and maybe me, I don't remember. So now every time there's like a joke that she doesn't laugh at that I tell her, I'm like, so the reason that's funny is because, and then she just looks at me like she's gonna throw something at me.
Like, hush.
Okay, I got a knock joke for you.
Okay.
Knock.
Who's there?
Control freak.
Control freak.
Now you're gonna say control freak who?
Okay.
That was good.
You nearly got me. Okay. All right. I'm going to hit that one with another knock joke. Okay. Knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting cow.
Yeah, dude, I've heard that one. That was good.
Okay.
Okay. Did you hear about the new restaurant called Karma?
No.
There's no menu. You get what you deserve.
Another very clever one. Man, this is where it gets. I'm starting to understand where Paisley and Ashley were coming from with the competitiveness. Yeah. Okay,
your turn.
Can February March? No, but April May. That's like the old. Like why was 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9.
5 afraid of 6. Yeah, or whatever. Okay, a woman in labor suddenly shouted, "Shouldn't, wouldn't, couldn't, didn't, can't." "Don't worry," said the doctor. "Those are just contractions." You can have that one to tell your wife. How far until she has the baby? Is it close enough for that joke?
It's in October. Well done, sir.
Okay.
I concede to you.
All right, good.
You're like, I couldn't go any further.
No, that's pretty good.
Dude, thoroughly enjoyed this.
Yeah, man. It's good.
This was a great time.
It's good.
So I usually ask at the end of the podcast for book recommendations, but...
Got them. You can just edit that later.
Yeah, exactly.
The Dream Giver, Energy Bus, 3 Feet from Gold. Yeah, those are 3 easy ones. Outliers, Green Lights, David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me. It's a hard read. And then 31 Days of Living with the Seal.
Nice.
Yeah,
not the animal.
Not the animal. Definitely not the animal. Man, appreciate you having me.
Absolutely.
And we'll have to do this again. Maybe we'll bring somebody else in next time.
Anytime. I'm always for repeat guests.
All right, buddy.